Hello, my lovely people. Welcome to a brutally honest review episode of me going over kind of like the one company that started it all, or Traveler's Company, by what was formerly known as Midori and now kind of like the Traveler's Company, Traveler's Factory brand. And so, if you didn't know this before, Midori, or Design Phil is the parent company, was the first company to come up with the traveler's notebook concept. And according to some of the stories I read, they were initially thinking about doing something like this because many people have students, for example, that go to classes have different notebooks for different subjects. And so they basically created this system to accommodate for different things to be included in the same notebook. And so I decided to do the first episode on this company because it's the first traveler's notebook I have ever owned, and while here, this little passport in brown is the very first traveler's notebook or any kind of like leather notebook I've ever owned. I've had this one for maybe about 3 years, something like that. And so let me just go over a little bit about what I will be covering today. The first thing that I obviously want to talk about is the product itself. And so most of you are familiar with the Traveler's Notebook setup. Basically, they have the elastic on the back instead of the spine like most makers after them do. They have just a single strand of elastic on the spine, and you're supposed to jump band multiple inserts together on this one elastic. This little one is not really meant to be used, and the knot for the spine elastic is kind of tucked away in this little metal thingy here, along with a singular bookmark. It's also kind of fastened in here. And if you were to just buy the notebook, it comes with one blank insert, some replacement elastic for the closure in a different color, and that's pretty much about it. Most of you have seen many videos and probably have owned many of these traveler's notebooks yourselves. They don't have too much extra feature besides just a piece of leather and some elastics and a bookmark, and that's it. And if you were to accessorize it, the Traveler's Company does have a bunch of different types of kind of like pockets, wallet inserts, plastic pockets that you can stick onto the cover itself. They have little pen holders like this that you can just kind of clip onto the cover. So basically, you can customize it to your personal preference, but the general thing that everyone gets is exactly the same, just this one piece of leather. Okay, so now let's talk about the different colors. They do not have, I would say, the widest color range at all. Basically, they have a black, a brown, this is a brown, so a black, a brown, a camel. My camel is not looking so camel-y because of how old it is, but a camel, an olive, that looks more brownish, if you ask me, really, and a blue. And the blue comes in a few different shades. It's not guaranteed that you will get one shade over another. It's just a random thing. And they come also in 2 sizes, the standard regular size and the passport size. And that brings us to the most exciting segment of doing these reviews for me, is to talk about the leathers. So if you have owned traveler's notebooks since a long time ago, or if you were able to score an old one, a lot of people like me would notice that there's some really huge variations in terms of the leather quality, dye quality, or just the dye color and all of that. And I will show you exactly what I mean here. So this black has a very smooth and shiny surface, and it's stamped Midori because it's an old one. Compared to the blue, I used to own the old blue edition, the Pan Am ones. I used to have 2 of them, and I sold both of them because blue is just not my color. This blue has less of a shiny surface compared to this. It has like more of a matte finish, and it has the new Traveler's Notebook stamp. Now if we flip them over to the inside, the black has a really, really fuzzy inside, where the blue has a very smooth inside that is actually refinished. Now, what does that mean? So, 2 things it will tell us is, first off, because of how different each of the top finish for each of them, this is a smooth one. This is what I would consider somewhere in the middle. This is super matte compared to this one. And even for the same color, this is actually a black that I cut down, and it has more of a matte finish than this older one that has like that really shiny finish, like you can kind of tell. And it's the same thing for the underside. This side of the flesh part has been refinished, and the same cannot be said about this. So what this tells me is, first off, this leather is not great quality. I know it pains me to say that, but I can kind of understand just in terms of their price point. You can pretty much get one for about $40 or something like that. If you were to buy it from not Amazon, it's gonna be like just a little bit over $50. And if you're familiar with some other TN makers out there, $50 for a regular size, or even $40 for a regular size, would be considered a really good price. So it's not high quality leather. One of the ways to tell is the flesh side. So here I will use actually one of their own products as an example. So this is the leather folder that Traveler's Company released. It's a vegetable tanned leather, undyed. And if you look at the inside of this, it's not refinished, but it's really smooth. There's no extra fuzz, or very, very minimal extra fuzz, compared to this one that's super duper fuzzy. And generally speaking, for the unfinished flesh size, the less fuzz it has, the higher the quality the hide is. And this one is what I would consider to be super fuzzy, and I have seen worse. So this tells me that this hide, as in like, not even like the quality of the dye or anything like that, just this piece of leather itself is not super duper high quality. And later on, like we can see with the blue, because they refinished the flesh side, you can't really tell the quality of the leather itself anymore. But a pretty good indicator then is basically looking at the consistency of the dye job. I am not sure where they source the leather. Since these are made in Thailand, I'm guessing probably Thailand, but definitely do not quote me on that. Usually with a really good tannery, they have a consistent source of the rawhide, and they have consistent methods of dyeing, consistent quality control to make sure that each batch is, I mean, obviously there's going to be variations, but they can make sure that each batch generally look about the same. The same could not be said about these leathers. They vary so much, depending on kind of like the colors are different. For example, with the blue, a lot of people have very different shades of blue compared to this. The finish is different, depending on the batch. And yeah, so basically a lot of the things can be different. And this inconsistency kind of tells me that maybe, just maybe, they're not working with the most reliable tanneries. They do paint the edges, so you can't really see the inside of it, but I do think that it is pretty good quality. It might not be full grain just because of the lack of natural variation. What I think happened is they probably have the top layer sanded down just a little bit and then redid the top side. And that's why you don't see any of the fat rolls, any of the striations. I think is because it's a top grain leather, not a full grain leather. But that doesn't mean the leather is bad quality. It does feel really good in the hand. It is very sturdy. And just remind you again, they're not really expensive at all. And now, their actual logo is stamped on, as are a lot of their kind of limited edition items. For example, this tiny little 5th year anniversary one is stamped on, but a lot of their limited edition items are hot embossed on, and these rub off. So even though there are a lot of limited edition options for you out there, just know that if it's embossed on, it will eventually go away. And of course, another thing that we do need to talk about is the common customization options you see in collaboration with the Superior Labor. Especially for those of you in the United States, it's pretty easy to get these customizations. These 2 camels are customized by Baumkuchen, as is this one that I cut down to a Hobonichi week size. And so there are a lot of different options that you can pick from by, for example, adding rivets, adding pockets, and the leathers that the Superior Labor uses to add onto these covers is actually higher quality than the traveler's notebooks themselves. So it's good to know that you're getting some really high quality leathers there. So if you're not a big fan of the stick on plastic pockets, these are definitely a good way to go. So after we talk about the leathers, which in my mind, I would probably give the quality of their leather maybe like a B- or a C+. They're just not the best leathers, but they show wear and tear super beautifully. And I think that's part of the reason why they chose this leather, according to some stories I've heard, is that they like the wabi-sabi style where it shows the wear and tear. And with a lot of high quality leathers, a lot of times, in my personal opinion, the wear on them don't show as beautifully as what can be shown on these leathers. And so that's part of the reason why I still have so many of these, is just because of how versatile and kind of like how beautifully it wears. Now, let's talk about the other products that they offer. So, like I said, they offer these folders. They have pencil boards that they release each year, based on the theme of the year. They have these elastic replacements. They have a lot of brass kind of product under the Travelers Company brand. Each year they have these sticker kits that you can use to customize your covers, and there are some tabs and whatnot, really useful stuff based on the theme of the year. They have these little double-sided tapes that I actually carry around with me a lot. They have things like plastic pockets, like plastic zipper pockets, plastic card pockets, and I do use a lot of them. And yeah, so just a bunch of like brass products, and a lot of times they do collaboration with other companies. And so, for example, this one is a little pouch that's designed perfectly for the regular size Traveler's notebook with a cute little handle, and it's in collaboration with, again, the Superior Labor. Now, let's talk about the best thing. I personally think the best things about this company. One, they have absolutely beautiful selections of these little charms. And it's not just that one, but also these ones that you can thread through the elastic. Their brass charms are, I think, really fairly priced. If you can get it, I guess, like directly from Japan, or if you can find a reseller that doesn't have a crazy upcharge, they're really, really high quality, really, really good brass. And the designs are really cool. These little brass tabs as well. Overall, I am definitely in love with their brass product. This is another one of these charms, and they also have them in a button form. This little charm here, this Mizuhiki one, is also from Traveler's Company or Traveler's Factory. I think they have a wonderful selection of accessories that you can get for your Traveler's notebook. And also, the other great thing in my mind are their inserts. If you're not familiar, Midori has their own paper, and that's the kind of paper they put in kind of like most of their inserts. Their lightweight paper is actually Tomoe River paper, and both of these types of papers are very fountain pen friendly. They are absolutely beautiful. These inserts are some of the highest quality inserts, and there are a lot of different kind of variety in terms of fun covers or special edition covers that you can get on these notebooks that just add that splash of charm on it. And in terms of pricing, these are some of the best bang for your buck kind of pricing you could possibly ever get. A Tomoe River paper insert that's 128 pages on Etsy can really easily run you like $10 or $15 or something like that, but not these ones. These ones are about, $7, which is absolutely great. The Midori paper you can only get with one of their inserts. So you're not going to be able to find other makers that make inserts with that same paper. And these are absolutely great quality. So if there's one thing that I think you could get, if you're not a big fan of their covers, which I understand a lot of people are not, their accessories and their inserts are absolutely great, fantastic. So overall, what do I think about the company? I obviously love them. I have so many things from them. They're my first traveler's notebooks. I gotta give them credit for coming up with a system. Their leathers are not the best leathers, but they do what the company wanted them to do, which is to be sturdy and to carry a story around on its kind of surface, which it does really well. And despite the leather not being the best and the configuration not being the most popular, their inserts and accessories are absolutely fantastic. So let me know what you think of this review and what you think of the Midori Traveler's Notebook overall. I will try to answer all of your questions down in the comments below. Overall, I really, really like this company. I have so many inserts that I'm just kind of hoarding from them. So many accessories. I absolutely love them. Even just there was some charm, I think, about the leather they use. Even though I know they're not the best leathers, they just feel so unique to me. So let me know what you think, and I will see you in the next episode. Thanks for watching.